educational purposes, and as I approach this topic with respect, I want you all to please be respectful in my comment section. Thanks. Now, before I get into this story, I want to say that Dawson Speaks TV does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, gender expression, age, national origin, disability, marital status, sexual orientation, military status, or political affiliation. Now, these stories are from all over the U.S., so let's get started. Now, this first story comes out of Ocala, Florida, and it involves a pastor and a PPP loan. So you already know how it's going to end. Oh, man, I said it before and I'll say it again. Some of you individuals should have left that money alone. It was a setup, or it appears to have been a setup, to see who would be truthful and who would tell a lie and only want to take. And it appears that a lot of pastors in the U.S. unfortunately took the bait, such as this pastor. Pastor Henry Troy Wade, 47 years old, is the senior pastor at Divine Destiny Global Ministries. Divine Destiny Global Ministries. Well, Pastor, when you go back to court, you're going to find out what your destiny will be. Now, last week in a Florida court, Pastor Henry Troy Wade was found guilty of fraud for taking CV-19 relief money. Now, according to prosecutors, Pastor Wade received more than $500,000 for businesses that he claimed to run. But guess what, y'all? Pastor confessed that he did not have the proper license to run any of the businesses. Wow. Well, I got a question, Pastor. Do you have your minister's license? Or are you just a jackleg preacher? Because I want to know who keeps ordaining these people. Where do they come from? This is ridiculous. Now, let me say this. I know that during the pandemic, there were millions of U.S. citizens that were in need. However, some individuals heard about the PPP loans and that the loans could possibly be forgiven, and a lot of individuals applied for the loans, providing fraudulent information. And here we are now, some 2 or so years later, and the government is not holding back. They're coming for you. To Pastor Troy Wade and the rest of you pastors and other individuals who took that money and you knew that you were lying when you were filling out that application, it's just time to face the music. Let's go on to the next story.
My electricity bill dropped from $150 to $52 doing this one thing. When I spent $49 on an energy-saving device, my friends thought I lost it. They literally laughed in my face, told me I got scammed. But then, I showed them my latest power bill and their jaws hit the floor. Check this out. This is my current energy bill. And here's last month's. That's a 60% drop in energy usage, without changing a single thing about our lifestyle. I normally don't post stuff like this, but I just had to share. I want to show you something simple that anyone can use to lower their energy bills without sacrificing comfort. You can still binge Netflix, run the washer at 140 degrees, or blast the AC in the summer. Nothing changes, except for your bill that's going to be the lowest you've ever seen. It's all possible thanks to a simple tech breakthrough that helps optimize how electricity flows through your home. It's called dynamic phase correction, and it was discovered by a guy named Carl Jensen, an industrial systems consultant, after his grandparents got slammed with a $300 summer electricity bill just for keeping the AC on. Carl knew the power grid we all rely on is far from perfect. Every day your home gets hit with thousands of tiny energy surges. They force your appliances to draw more electricity than needed. Think of it like trying to fill a glass with a fire hose. It's total overkill, but the power company still charges you for all that spilled energy. So Carl built a prototype using something called dynamic phase correction. The idea is to balance the current flowing into your home and cut out all the invisible surges that spike your usage. He plugged it in, left it alone for a month, and then checked his power bill. It dropped from 2.
Now, this next story comes out of Michigan. A married Michigan pastor is out of the pulpit and also out of a job. And many people in the church and in that community are glad about it. I'm going to tell you why. Now, the man that you all see on the screen is Pastor Will Johnson. Pastor Will Johnson, who is the church's worship pastor and director. Pastor Will Johnson was a role model at his church. His love for God and God's people was evident through his music and preaching. Many individuals in the church and the community trusted Pastor Will Johnson because he was a family man, a man of the cloth. Well, that was until this happened. Recently, Pastor Will Johnson was apprehended by the Brighton, Michigan officers for placing a hidden camera in a private area at the church. Yes, he placed it in the bathroom. Take a breath. Man, I tell you, this is ridiculous. On the last video, we talked about the pastor in the Walmart bathroom. Now we have this one at the church, man. What's going on with these men in the Lord's church? Disgusting. Now, the 242 Community Church said in a Facebook post that a staff member informed them that a hidden camera was found inside a non-public unisex bathroom in the backstage area of the church. Now, let me stop here and say this to 242 Community Church. I know what you all are trying to do here, but what you have to understand, and one of your members pointed this out too, even though it was on the stage, that bathroom was in the back area, still the musicians use that restroom, other pastors use that restroom, and one of your members said this, people who got baptized, what if they changed in that restroom? So individuals, they did go in that restroom, and he knew that someone was going in there that he liked, that's why he put the camera in there. Now, Pastor Will Johnson confessed to church leaders. He confessed that he placed the camera in there. After he confessed, Pastor Will Johnson was immediately terminated, and then officers were notified and he was apprehended. Now, let me say this. Pastor Will Johnson, sir, go get help. Please go get help. What you did was creepy. It was disgusting. You and your wife and your child, you've been attending that church for years. Years. Those people at the church said that you all were like family to them. And this is what you do, sir, to your church family? Now, speaking of church family, I want to give a special thank you to the senior pastor at 242 Community Church, Tony Johnson. I don't think he's related to Pastor Will Johnson. I don't know. I don't think they are. But he came out, and the church advisory board, they all, came out and talked to the congregation, and they basically said that they're not sweeping this under the rug. This was a public matter, and they're going to talk about it to the entire congregation. And the senior pastor got up in front of the church. He cried. He told the congregation that you all have a right to be upset and angry because your privacy was violated. Now, I thank the pastor for saying that to the entire congregation. Not only that, they also had prayer warriors and therapists at the church to help the congregants who were having a tough time dealing with the matter at hand. Now, you all know that I'm an advocate for prayer and therapy. Both together are a winning combination. Now, some church members took to social media to talk about the situation and how they were upset by Pastor Will Johnson placing a hidden camera in a restroom. And they were upset, and some members told them not to be upset and that they couldn't blame the church for one man's actions. Okay, sure. However, those members, they have a right to be upset because they could have been recorded if they used that restroom or any of their family members. Now, the investigation is still ongoing because there is more to this story. Because if Pastor Will Johnson was bold enough to do this in his church, what about when he goes to the mall or the gym or any public place? To church members who are upset, you have a right to be upset. I don't care what anyone says. Now, let me go on to the final story. Now, our final story comes out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, before I begin this story, many of my subscribers and viewers know that I worked for Child Protective Services for a few years. So reviewing this case brought back memories of clients that I've worked with. Pastor Maurice Bailey Sr. was the senior pastor at St. Andrew's Christian Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Pastor Maurice Bailey Sr. was well respected in the community. On the outside looking in, it appeared that he had it all. A great church, beautiful wife, good children, and a wonderful life. At least that's what some people thought. But on the inside of Pastor Bailey's home, his daughter Harmony Oakes was living a nightmare. On September 25th, 2024, Pastor Maurice Bailey Sr., married father of 4, was apprehended by officers and charged with multiple crimes, including essay. You know we say essay here on the YT. According to the police report and court documents, Pastor Maurice Bailey Sr. had inappropriate interactions with a youngin in the home. Take a breath. Man. Now, Harmony Oakes, this young lady right here, she's the pastor's daughter. She's a young adult now. She's married. She has her own family. She went to the local news station to tell her story, and they decided to do a full interview with her. Now, Harmony said that she was afraid to tell anyone because of what Pastor Bailey would say to her would happen if she did. In a recorded phone call, you all, Pastor Bailey Sr. could be heard saying this to Harmony. The secret getting out would be totally catastrophic to the kingdom of God. That's what this pastor said. No, Pastor Bailey, the secret getting out is going to be catastrophic to you, not to the kingdom of God, sir. Now, according to court documents, the pastor asked for forgiveness during a text message for his wrongdoings, and also during a therapy session, he confessed as well, according to court documents. Now, Harmony Oaks, as I said before, she's the young lady. She's married now. There's her with her husband. She also has a child. Harmony said that her dad, Pastor Bailey, he even tried, while she's married now, she's newly married, to come over to her house to have inappropriate activities with her while her husband was not at home. So eventually she got so upset, she told her husband everything that she had been through and was currently going through with Pastor Bailey. And after that, her husband encouraged her to tell her mama. And then together, the mother and the husband, they encouraged her to go to the officers, and she did. And that's why we're here right now. Now, Pastor Maurice Bailey Sr. is currently in jail being held on a $500,000 bond. And if these allegations are true, sir, I hope the judge throws the book at you. Now, I know there's some people who will say, well, why didn't she tell earlier? Man, get out of here with that.
My friends laughed at me for buying this, and now they ask me where I got this. So I almost made the dumbest mistake of my...
You heard me when I said that her dad, the pastor, told her what would happen if she told anyone. And I'm sure he probably said some other things that we're not privy to. This young lady is only 22 years old. She's a young adult, recently married, has her own child, and trying to go on in life and forget her past. But with the help of her husband, she realized that you cannot conquer what you won't confront. Harmony, I salute you for being bold enough to tell your story. Because when things like this happen in and outside of religious institutions, some individuals always sweep it up under the rug. They want to sweep it up under the rug. But not on my watch. I'm Dawson, and this show is called Dawson Speaks. We're going to talk about it. Now, I have to put this in here, a legal note. Pastor Maurice Bailey Sr. pled not guilty to the crimes, and he will have his day in court. Right. You all, go read up on this case for yourself. There are things that I read about this case that I can't talk about here on the YT, so go check out the daughter Harmony's interview right here with the local news station. If you can stomach it. It's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. Harmony, keep telling your story. I don't care what these people say. And for the rest of the victims out there, don't you let people hush you up. You shut them down. Now I'm off of this. You all get down in the comments section and let me know what you think about these topics, all right? Thumbs up the video. Please share the video with family and friends. Thank you for those who support this channel.